Alright, what's up everyone? So, in this video, we're going to look at the 7 Deadly Sins weapons, the new feature that was added to the game. This is basically a new activatable skill and a bunch of passive bonuses that you get upon equipping the weapons. So, in essence, it's another stat dump system, but it actually does have an effect on the game, which is pretty cool. Again, this is something I like about Raja, is that even though there are lots of stat dumps in the game, some of them actually do have an effect on combat. Some more than others. Allies, for example, is really cool, and the pets with the pet skills and everything like that. Okay, so let's look at the 7 Deadly Sins. So if you go to Gear and go to 7 Sins, you can see this screen here. Now, on the left side is Edicts. Edicts are earned at level 100 plus and are earned through what's called Edict Gear. When you get gear, you have a chance to get an Edict Gear, and that Edict Gear effect is increased based on the gear level. At level 110, as you can see, we have two areas open for Edicts, and at level 120 you get the third one. So you can equip 3 Edicts into each slot. And you get Edict Gears, like I said, from doing dungeons and stuff like that. So every time you get a gear drop, you can get an Edict Gear. It's the same. It's similar to like set gear and stuff like that. On the right side here, you can upgrade your weapons by infusing them with irons. You get these materials either from the shop. The basic ones are 60 diamonds each. I actually just spent like 2,000 getting a whole bunch of them. So they're 60 diamonds each. And you can also get them. You get 2 free per day from the daily activity, and I think you also get more from potentially Moon Realm. You might get more from some of the other events. They might drop from dragon hunting and stuff like that. Maybe Yakuza. I don't really know yet. But that's how you get them for free or get them by spending diamonds. Right now, you can't get them in the cash shop, but I'm sure that'll change in the future. We'll probably also get them for free from events as well. Maybe this login event will give them a bunch for free. So, how the system basically works is you pick a main weapon. Your main weapon determines what activatable skill you have and also increases the passive stats from that weapon by 200%. So as you can see, I have this one called Pride, which deals damage and inflicts Pride effect that nullifies all of their damage boost effects for 9 seconds, and it has a 180-second cooldown. Each of them have different cooldowns. Some of them range from 120 seconds to 180 seconds to 240 seconds. And you can see if I use my activatable, you can see here, I need a target to use it, but it'll put it on cooldown and it'll use the effect. Now, what else do you also have to look at is the upgrade effects. So, every weapon has different passive stats. As you can see, this one gives you HP, attack, and crit. This one gives you HP, attack, and AP. This one gives you HP, attack, and MS, which is why I'm using it, because I'm playing as the new class, which needs a lot of multi-strike. This one gives you HP, M attack, and P defense. This one gives you P defense, M defense, and CDR. This one gives you HP, P defense, and M defense. And then this one gives you attack, P defense, and M defense. Now, additionally, if you go to the where's the effect? There's Might Overview right over here. You can see the upgrade effects of each individual weapon, and you can also see your total passive stats that you gain from all of your weapons. So I recommend focusing on one weapon early, and then, once they give us more ways to get irons for free and stuff like that, then you can start dumping into the other ones. But for now, I would focus on one, and focus on that one. So something you also got to keep in mind is the upgrades here. So every time you get to a certain level, you can upgrade the ability. So, for Pride, for example, if we look at Pride, at Broken Mirror level 25, the skill upgrades to where the duration increases to 10 seconds. So once I get to level 25, the duration of the effect will increase to 10 seconds. Additionally, at level 30, I gain a new effect of the skill, which dispels pride buff from self and nearby allies if that effect is in place. And I can dispel debuffs inflicted by other sin skills as pride further forges the sword. So basically, I can dispel the effects given onto me and allies when I use my ability. And then at the next level, you can see leaves behind a pride bump that lasts 6 seconds, which limits their movement speed to 3 meters per second and reduces their defenses by 20%. And there's one down here that's universal, which means all my might skills deal 5% more damage for each debuff applied to the target. For this one, for example, you get a 20% AP boost to your damage, 2 times chance to enter angry state, which is kind of like a berserk state, and stuff like that. So some of these have universal abilities. Some of them have only abilities applied to that weapon. Okay? So that's basically how it works. And again, you have to upgrade them using these irons. The cost increases as you get more at higher levels. And again, it's 60 diamonds for iron 1s. Iron 2s is about 300 diamonds. So I don't know how many that translates into, but you can upgrade them, obviously. Iron 3s is around 1,200 diamonds, and Iron 4s... Yeah, so it starts getting into whale territory, but... So to go over each individual weapon, and which one you should pick, it's really up to you what you need and what your class is, right? So the first one... if you lose 5% HP, you enter Angry State, which deals damage equal to twice the lost HP to nearby enemies. This damage is shared by all enemies in range. The cooldown is 240 seconds. So basically, when you activate it, you lose 5% HP, but you deal damage to twice the amount of HP. So the higher your HP amount, the more damage you're going to do. And when your HP drops below 20%, you have a chance to enter Angry State, which deals 5% more damage and takes 5% less damage. And you gain, from upgrading this, you gain HP, M attack, and crit. And as you can see, every 5 levels, you gain damage delta is increased and damage induction decreased when you enter Angry State. Okay? So this one, the effects of this one mostly affect the activatable ability, which in my opinion isn't super good, but I don't know yet. It has a very long cooldown, but there you go. Greed deals massive damage to nearby enemies, inflicts Mark of Greed, which reduces their healing bonus by 100%. So this is really good against Phantom Sounds, Soul Dancers, maybe even Reapers as well. As you can see, it increases the damage dealt every 5 levels, which is actually pretty good. At level 30, chance to steal 15% defense when hitting the targets that suffer from Mark of Greed. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good effect. CDR level of targets that suffer from Mark of Greed reduced by 40%, and their movement speed cannot exceed 3 meters per second. That's also very good. Universal skill Dragon's Rage. For the next 5 seconds after you use a might skill, you'll become invulnerable for 3 seconds when you take a deadly hit. Not super great, but alright. And the last one, when a target with Mark of Greed dies, they leave behind a Mark of Remorse, which grants 20% defense to allies. So this one I've seen some people go into. Has some pretty good effects. So now this is the one I use, which is Pride, which I already talked about what it does here. I like this one a lot, so that's why I went with this one. Gluttony. Releases venom from pinholes to the Gluttony blade as it strikes, inflicting poison that deals damage to the enemy over 12 seconds. As you can see, as you level it up, increases the poison damage. It doesn't give you a number of what the poison, of how much damage it actually does, but hey, it does damage. At the first rank, poison inflicts weakness, which decreases their damage dealt by 10%. Hitting an enemy that suffers from poison, chance to trigger Poison Explosion, which deals AoE to nearby enemies. Explosion has a 50% chance to spread the poison. That's at a pretty high rank, though, so not super great. Each explosion has a 40% chance to inflict... Yeah, This one, I don't know. I don't know about this one. Envy. So you deal damage. If your total P attack and M attack is lower than the target's, you can steal 10% of the difference as your attack for 10 seconds. Does not stack. Can steal up to 15% of your total P and M attack. So this is kind of interesting. This one is really, really interesting. Because, and as you upgrade it, it increases because this might actually be a whale killer. This one might actually be a whale killer. I don't know how it's going to work just yet, but it might actually be a whale killer. Now, the issue with it is the passive stats are bad. But the fact that you can steal someone's attack is kind of interesting. And as you can see at higher levels, you can steal up to 2 times their attack, but their attack is not affected, right? The universal skill is your attack is not lost when hit by envy. So, yeah. Yeah, so basically, I think what whales are going to do is immediately build this one because of... wow, Ferg, thank you. Because of this right here. This is... Yeah, I don't know about this one. We'll see how that goes. Your P attack and M attack is increased by 10% of targets. Yeah, so that's really interesting. So even though... So yeah, even though this universal skill, like, you don't lose your attack, but you still steal it if your attack is lower. So it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. This one is probably the most interesting one out of all of them. So we'll see how this one goes. Next is Sloth. Targets have a 20% chance to inflict a random debuff on themselves upon dealing damage for 10 seconds. Yeah. This one's not really that great. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. It upgrades the damage dealt. It upgrades the... As you can see, it will upgrade the buff effects. It can lock their CD. Damage increase based on their movement speed. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this one. The next one is Filth. This one's interesting because it gives them laceration. I like this one too, and the stats aren't awful. And as you can see, it upgrades the laceration damage by 30% at the first level. And for whatever reason, they have a universal skill where you deal more damage to the opposite sex. Releasing Filth increases your crit damage by 20%. Yeah, so this one's pretty good too. Alright. So, I don't know. I mean, I like this one. But I think, you know, this one's the most interesting. We'll see how it goes. I think the Filth one's pretty good too, because it gives laceration, which, as we already know, is broken. So, combine that with, like, Puppeteer, now you have 2 sources of laceration. So there you go. But yeah, I don't have any edicts yet, so I can't really show that off, but I'm kind of interested to see how this goes. Ooh, I got more diamonds, so I can buy more irons. So let's actually upgrade this iron to... let's actually upgrade this weapon to as high as we can go. So let's buy 25 of these for now. And we'll see if we can upgrade this to the next rank. Okay, so you can see we upgraded the stats more. And I need 2 more to get it to the next rank. I need 2 more. So let's get 2 more. Good thing I saved my diamonds. Oops, wrong one. Oh, here we go. And there we go. So now I have Broken Mirror, which dispels pride buff from self and nearby allies, and I can dispel debuffs inflicted by other sins. So there you go. That's pretty good. So now I need Iron 2s, which are 300, about 300 diamonds. So I might want to focus on upgrading some of the other ones for some additional stats, but I don't know yet. So that's basically the 7 Deadly Sins system. It's pretty interesting, considering like how many different options there are here. Now, obviously, it is stat dumping, and it's going to be very expensive. And obviously, if you can whale, you can max out all these stats. But, I mean, it's a really good stat boost, and the skills are really interesting. And I'm excited to see kind of what people would, recommend for different class combinations and stuff like that. So, there you go.